Hey everyone, it's Andrew. I'm back this week to talk about a little issue that came up this weekend. It's an issue that I think is a huge part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost more important than the actual playing of the game, and that's the issue of trading, buying, and selling. I had a conversation with a kid this weekend that got me thinking about trading a lot this week. So yeah, the conversation went a little something like this. Hey man, is that a Light and Darkness Dragon? What do you value it at? Well, I don't really want to trade my cards because I don't know what they're worth. I just got back in the game. What do you think it's worth? Your Light and Darkness is worth about 5 or 6. Oh wow, I didn't realize it was worth that much. That's cool. So this other card you wanted earlier, this is also worth 5. So would you trade it? Nah man, I can't trade my Light and Darkness until I know how much it's worth. Why? Because I don't know how much your card's worth. No, I just told you it's worth like 5 or 6. Yeah, but you could just be saying that because you want to get my Light and Darkness off of me. Funny, because now that I think about that conversation, it reminds me of another one that I had the very next day. Oh, hey, guy that I don't know very well that I've never seen before this tournament. I heard that you have a Tethys for trade. Can you talk to me after this round and maybe we can see if you trade it? Yeah, sure, man. Smashing cards, dropping Yu-Gi-Oh plays. Raping 12-year-olds. Hey, Andrew. What, Johnny? Did you just hear this guy? He just went up to him and told him not to look at your binder for that Tethys because it's not worth it. Hey, Lewis. Did you just tell him not to look at my binder? Bitch, I'm about to cut you. I'm straight from La Pinta, ese. Alright, that last part didn't happen, but you get the idea. Alright, there's a couple major issues here that happen with those conversations. In the first conversation, obviously you could see that by letting the kid know, by trying to help him and tell him how much his stuff was worth, he immediately used that as like a bargaining tool against me. And on the same note, became more distrustful of me because he knew that I knew prices. Even though I'd showed that I was trustworthy by telling him any price, even if I wasn't trustworthy, everything he knew about the card's value was based off what I told him. It's a weird thing. And I'm sure you've had this happen a lot in some of your tournaments where maybe you just feel bad for a little kid who managed to get his hands on a really expensive card. And so you tell him, don't trade this. You know, go show it to your parents, have them look it on eBay, or sell it and then buy all the cards you want, but don't trade it. And of course, 5 minutes later, what does he do? He's trading it over to your good teammate Johnny, who's making hundreds and hundreds of dollars off him. That's a problem. For me, at least. Not for Johnny. It's kind of a gray area because, you know, on one hand, you know, you don't want to lie to anybody. I mean, no one enjoys lying, I think, unless you have a vagina. I don't want to lie to a 10-year-old to try and make a couple bucks off him, and I don't enjoy that. But on the same note, I definitely don't enjoy, you know, being Good Samaritan, you know, being Mr. Heroic, and watching him 5 minutes later give that card up. The second situation was just someone being a giant douchebag. But it's another thing because it's like, it brings up the notion of being able to poison the well and just destroy someone's credibility. Because now I have to work against that if I want to trade this kid. And then the question of why that guy works against, you know, went so that far to do it against me in the first place. And this brings up the whole idea again of being honest with people and becoming less trustworthy. At least in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the reason he was afraid that I'm going to rip this guy off, because he knows we know values. And the reason he knows we know values is because we've told him values, or he's heard us discuss values with other people. So by being honest and telling people how much stuff is worth, he knows that we know when stuff is worth something. So no matter what card I asked for, I could have been there asking for Karibos all over the place. He would have been trying to hesitate from trading me any he had, and would have worked to get other people not to trade them to me, so that he could trade them himself, so that he could get them for himself. Now, it's not because he thinks they're really good. He's just assuming that he didn't hear something, that we heard something he didn't, and now he's about to cash in on it. And yeah, I was pretty pissed off. I was pretty fucking pissed because that's about the shadiest thing you could do, and then couldn't even balls up and admit it afterwards. But anyways, it's not what I'm talking about. It brings up the question of manipulation for trading, and it brings up the question of how much you want to let know that you know. Now, if I'm talking with my friends, and I'm trading with my friends or anything, I'm pretty much going to tell them everything and be honest about it, because the friendship to me is worth more than that, and there's plenty of suckers out there for me to, you know, get cards off of. I don't need to do that to the people I know. But when it comes to people you don't know, to complete strangers, you don't ever want to let someone know how much you know, because if they realize you don't know anything, they're less afraid to make an offer you might refuse. But if they think you might ridicule them when they offer too low of value, then they're going to try and keep it as close to that as possible. But yeah, like I said, I don't recommend, you know, just going out and straight ripping people off. But, you know what I mean? It's like, either you tap the oil well or someone else does. But you have to be able to recognize when there's a spring waiting to be tapped. There's something about saying waiting to get tapped that gives me a huge boner. Bam. But when there's, you know, a resource being waiting to be exploited, and whether you're just the first one to get there, and there's tons of people behind you who are going to take those cards off him or her anyways, or when you're actually straight just taking from someone. It's a thin line, but you know what? You're pretty smart. Got it under control. No big deal. No big deal. Anyways, on a related note, I'm actually considering starting a trading channel on here. Just because it was kind of a pain in the ass to get some of those Tethyses this weekend. So if you think I should, you could post something. I'm a little afraid of getting ripped too, so I might do a you send first. Besides, I look like a trustworthy guy, right? I mean, with earrings and shaved head, facial hair. No big deal. Brown skin. But that's it for me on this video. That's DrDroo signing out.